Croeso, this is James, aka JP Harker, coming to you with another video. Again, I'm keeping the videos short because of camera issues, which anyone who's met me knows my techie knowledge is not what it could be. So, videos are going to be short. I'm just going to look at one book today, and it is Pawn of Prophecy, which is the first of the Belgariad by David Eddings. Which is this. I'm trying to get more into the habit of keeping this up here. Now, this was recommended to me, and I got this and the next two books for Christmas. It's an easy read, but I know it's very popular. I think I'm going to give quite an unpopular opinion because it feels like the bad outweighs the good in this. It's not that it's a bad book. I think I'll probably give it about 3 stars. It is very easy to read as far as the language goes. It's not a huge book as First Fantasies go, you can get through it quite quickly. There's nothing that makes you think, oh, how terrible this is. There's nothing that makes you think, this man doesn't know what he's doing. But at the same time, there was a lot in it that I thought, for such a popular book, these are some pretty big issues. And I don't want to make this a full ranty video, but I will sort of go into it a little bit. First off, and this is not the fault of the book, this is the fault of me because it's not necessarily to my taste, I'm not a fan of chosen one plots, and I'm not a huge fan of starting when our hero is very, very young. So that's not a fault of the book, that's to each their own, but I don't really like chosen one plots. I think that's just not my thing, because you're pretty much guaranteed the chosen one's survival until right at the end, and they'll probably live through the end. They might not, plenty of books end with them dying. But it means you know who is safe, and that's not something I'm big on. Another thing that I really sort of took some issue with, and it sort of ties in unfortunately to it being a short book, is it's an easy book to read, and the language is easy and it's short, but the world building has suffered as a result. You get lots and lots of names thrown at you, lots and lots of this faction and that faction, and lots of place names and lots of geography, but very little is gone into in much detail. So I don't remember most of the factions that are named, I don't remember most of the places they go, and I don't remember much about the prophecy and the gods. I can remember 2 of them, because it isn't really built naturally into the story. You don't get much detail, and when they do mention things, it's right, there's that, right, there's that. You don't get much of a feel for the book, so that was my feeling on the world building. And the other big issue I had, and it's an issue I think a lot of people have, is plot convenience. Now, I get it, you need the plot to progress, and in the first couple of times this happening, it's fine. Coincidences, they happen in books, that's fine. But our hero has a habit of eavesdropping. Now, the author does the clever thing, if he establishes this early on, has him eavesdropping on conversations when he's at home, has him sneaking around behind corners and behind doors. So that's fine, he's established that that's what he does, but his eavesdropping is remarkably well timed, given what he hears. It might not be what he needs to hear, but it's what we, the reader, need to hear. And on 2 occasions, quite close to each other, he is on a walk. He's not looking to find anyone, he's not seeking anything. He's on a walk and happens upon the exact right group of people who happen to be in the middle of the right bit of the conversation where it's just mysterious enough that he doesn't grasp it, but just enough info that he's curious and we learn, and he just happens to be in a place that's easily concealed where he can see everyone else but they can't see him. This happens twice within a couple of chapters, and I just thought, no, that could have been handled so much better. And it's not that it was bad, it was that just a little bit of work could have made this into a better idea, and it wasn't done, so that got to me. My final sort of comment, because I've said a few negative things, is both a negative and a positive, and again it's depending on your own personal taste. And this is no spoiler at all because you find this out sort of that far in, is this is written, I'm sure there's a technical term, but this is written like Columbo. For those who are old enough or just old-fashioned enough to remember Columbo, Columbo was a murder mystery where you saw the murder happen at the start. So we, the audience, knew who the murderer was, and the TV show was Columbo finding out who the murderer was. And so the tension wasn't derived from mystery, like it is in most of these things, or in most books where you're looking for prophecy. It was derived from dramatic irony, the idea that we, the reader, know what the protagonist doesn't, and we're watching them find it out. As a concept, that's fine. It worked with Columbo. It was in this, and this is purely my opinion, I don't think it worked very well. Because we already know everything, and our protagonist is taking so long to work things out, it's becoming frustrating. It's no longer interesting. When I was watching Columbo working out a crime, it was interesting because he was finding clues, and he was working things out, and he's a clever man, and he was putting it together. In this, it's just our hero overhears things. That's more or less it. He doesn't do much detecting himself, he doesn't do much learning himself. He just keeps overhearing stuff. And to me that takes away the fun of that kind of format. So, yes, I have laid into it a little bit. It's not a bad book. I've got 2 of the others. I've got them for Christmas. I will read the other 2, I'm sure. But for anyone thinking of picking this up, don't go into it with high expectations, because that could be one of the problems I had with it. I'd heard it talked up a lot, and so I went into it thinking, well, I've saved this, this will be really good. And I was like, that's alright. So I wouldn't say don't pick this up. By all means do pick it up. But pick it up if you like Chosen One plots, if you like young protagonists, if you're alright with so-so world building, and if you're not expecting the greatest fantasy ever written, because it's alright, but it's not cracking stuff. I may have to eat my words with the next couple, I don't know. The next couple could be cracking books and they may change my mind. But for now, that's my opinion on Pawn of Prophecy on its own. This was borderline, will I continue the series? I will, because I already own them, and it was okay. So we shall see what happens. I'm going to end that video there. This is James, aka JP Harker. Thank you for watching. Will out.